Welcome back to another edition of the Stack Supplement Podcast, where we run down all of the top stories and exciting announcements shared on our website from the past 7 days. And we're gearing up for a pretty big week. Not this week, next week. We will be in Las Vegas once again for Supply Side, the annual beast of a industry show where a lot of brands come together, but specifically it's an exhibition around, I guess, your suppliers. Ingredients, premium ingredient houses are in there in a big way. Compound Solutions is there, Carnison, New Live, NNB, Nutrition 21, you name it, they're there. So of course the brands all convene in the expo. We will be there again, full week, lots of meetings. We'll share any updates and developments we see, but it's always a good time to go out there and catch up with everyone who kind of just is in that realm. And so yeah, we'll be there. We'll actually have some special edition shirts that I've just put together. They should be here tomorrow, and it'll have a nice way for, if you're there, obviously it's not necessarily a consumer show, but if you're there, you can just look for this shirt. Trust me, it'll stand out. We'll post a picture on socials, but these are just for the show, just in case I don't see someone that I should have and they see me or the shirt. Either way works. But here we're going to get into the announcements. It's a pretty big week last week. We had a lot of big stories, a lot of good stories, a lot of innovations and excitement coming. I think around September, July was a bit, not dull, it was slower pace, I might say. A lot of European brands picked up, a lot of Swedish announcements came in. They tend to be very fast. That market in its entirety tends to be quite big in developments and releases, despite how small of a country Sweden is. But yeah, we have seen a lot heading into the end of the year, which makes sense because generally a lot of brands hype up for the new year, which is a big time. And then of course we have the Arnold. We will be announcing the first participant, one of the first participants for the Stacked Pavilion. We're probably just going to roll them out. Last year I think we tried to go a little bit slower and didn't get that many out. So we want to try and really focus on who's there and whatnot, so everyone knows everyone's in the mix. And if you haven't entered already, be sure to enter our Arnold giveaway, where we're paying for one fan to fly straight there and have a good time. Check it out, stay with us, and yeah, have a good weekend. Check out the show for yourself without spending any money on accommodation, travel, or to get into the show. So yeah, stay tuned for that announcement. You can probably guess who the first one is. I'll give you a hint. If you were there this year, it's the first one you saw. They'll be back in that same spot too. But for now, we're going to get into the stories. We're going to start off, I like to start off with internationals, and we're going to go over to the German giant. Actually, I won't say giant, just a big brand, big German company that is up and coming quite substantially. And we mentioned this when they first came about and we found out who was actually there. So Inlead Nutrition in Germany has been growing impressively, expanding substantially. They've just partnered with the great guys over at Prometheus, the biggest distributor in Europe. They just have always handled the best names, the best presences across that continent, and that you need that kind of support if you're in that region, just purely because the complexity, the rules, the regulations, the know-how, and that's one thing Prometheus is just killer at. And so they've partnered with Inlead's partnered with Prometheus, and now they're distributing a selection of their products across the continent, which would mean you will likely see it all from east to west, so be on the lookout. But the news from Inlead is that it is coming out with, or has come out with an advent calendar, and they do things right. If you missed the story initially, when I said it was important what Inlead is, so Got7 Nutrition is a legend in the functional food world in Europe. They created so many different snacks, countless little treats full of protein, low sugar, that you just will never ever see again, or we have never seen again. And they did it with such little effort. Obviously a lot went in behind the scenes, but they just rolled them out time after time. One thing they did do was they did an advent calendar. They're one of the first, but most importantly, they didn't just put typical products in there. Nowadays, a lot of European brands do advent calendars, customized advent calendars with samples of protein powder, protein bars, whatever. Got7 Nutrition put exclusive products in there. More than half of their calendar was filled with things you'd never tried before. I think it might have only been like a couple that you will have actually tried. It was basically a testing ground. The brand would stack it with all new flavors, exclusive concepts, products that may never come to market, products that never did come to market. Special edition flavors just for the calendar. They had Christmas edition bars and chips. It was a functional connoisseur's dream. It was really damn cool. Now, GOT7 eventually faded out, it was bought out, that was the end of that chapter, but one of the individuals behind it is now at Inlead, and now they've launched an advent calendar, and it is very much the same as what it was at GOT7. They have stacked this thing full of products, completely new items as well, that you just aren't going to see anywhere else. I'm trying to find out the exact description of everything that they got in here. So if you remember, one of the big features of the GOT7 one was that it's huge. This comes in very much the same at 1.1 meters, give or take. So it's giant, above the waist type thing, and each door is filled with a product, a protein snack or a functional food of some sort. And yeah, so it's a special edition item. You aren't going to be able to get this for a very long time. I actually think it's probably already sold out. That was not too surprising. That was the case with the GOT7 one. And I don't know, I don't actually have a link here. It probably is sold out. I wouldn't be surprised. So if you got in, kudos. If you saw the post and got in, good lucky you. But it's just cool to see them do what they did. They made GOT7 so strong and see that legacy continue. But on the topic of advent calendars, there was another company that popped up that was a bit of both, European and the US, now being one of the biggest protein bar brands in the country. Barebells in Sweden has brought back its advent calendar as it did last year. So it's brought back the concept, hasn't brought the exact same one back. They did one last year, and each little window had a protein bar inside. For 2024, they have done the same thing. It's a different design, look and feel. It's still Christmassy, of course, but behind each window. And this is another thing. And I actually genuinely believe this is what GOT7 created. It was the one that encouraged others to do it. Not the concept, but put in things that had never tried before. So the Barebells calendar is launching in the UK, Germany, France, Denmark, and of course Sweden. There will be one in the US. It's going to be very different to this one, but there is one. So they mentioned it's coming. There was one in the US last year. It will be different, but it is coming back. So we're talking exclusively about the one in Europe right now. The one in the US is coming, and we'll probably break that down. It will have different contents. But the interesting fact here, so inside the Barebells calendar is various flavors of the signature Barebells protein bar, the soft protein bar, and the vegan protein bar. Now, what they have said is very, very vague. They haven't actually been overly specific. So if you can get your hands on one of these, take a photo and be sure to let me know each day what you get, because I'm very intrigued by this. So inside each calendar are those 3 bars in different flavors. However, they have said that some of them are already available, some of them are discontinued, some of them are exclusive, some of them are entirely new innovations, and some of them are, did I say exclusive already? So basically, by the sounds of things, you may get flavors in this one that you've had before. I would think a lot of them will be ones you've had before. However, mixed in there are flavors that are exclusive by the sounds of things. So fans in Europe may actually get a sample of one of the US flavors like peanut butter, key lime pie, maybe even birthday cake. And then in addition to that, it sounds like they might have some discontinued ones. It's very hard to understand because I'm not sure if it was written, but it was just, they weren't overly specific, like, hey, get a flavor you'll never find anywhere else. Like, that's something that's pretty cool to hear usually. And so yeah, they've kind of hinted at there are flavors in here that you just aren't going to get anywhere else as well. So it sounds like you might get some regional exclusives, so flavors from the US in Europe for the first time. You might get some discontinued ones, which is what I think might also be in there. And there have been a mountain of flavors of various protein bars that Barebells has done. Don't forget the core one that they did way back. There was the double bite one was another cool one they did, which was a 2-piece protein snack going back a few years now. They've done ice cream, they did a little bite. They've done a lot of things. So I'm guessing that they're sneaking a lot of that in there. And it also sounds like they've got entirely new concepts. So innovations that you might not have seen absolutely anywhere else and may not ever see. They might just be testing grounds. Very similar to what I was talking about with the GOT7 one. So there's a lot of surprises in that, a lot of excitement. Again, that's the European one, and the US is going to get one. But on the topic of US and Barebells, they've also rolled out a special edition Christmas flavor. Now this was something we'd seen Barebells do numerous years in Sweden. Actually, a lot of flavors that have become permanent or gone on to become permanent were originally limited edition Christmas flavors. They did it with the mint one. I believe they did it with the, I'm trying to remember the name of it now. They had the soft crunch, the marshmallow one was a Christmas one. They all start as Christmas flavors, and then they basically have proved popular, become something more permanent. So yeah, in the US exclusively though, there is a Christmas edition called peppermint bark, and it is very much refreshing peppermint with a nice, I think it's a white chocolate outer. Yeah. So it's a very Christmassy taste, available exclusively in the US for the signature Barebells protein bar. It's not the soft or the vegan. And typical macros, it's available now in Vitamin Shop. I don't know if it's going anywhere else. I suspect it is. They might just be the first one to get it. But you can get your hands on it now over at Vitamin Shop, both in store and online. I'm trying to make sure we get through some of these other big stories here. Next up, we're going to go over to Ghost, who revamped one of kind of my favorite daily pre-workouts, if that's a thing. Basically a supplement I just like to use on a regular. If it's there internationally, I'll grab a tub to have it for the few days or weeks that I'm there. And that's Ghost All Out. So Ghost All Out is kind of the high energy, high stimulant version, but it's also somewhat of a more premium version of Ghost Legend. It definitely hits a lot harder. And now it's going to offer a bit more in the pump department. It was always very pushed as a high stim version of Legend, hence the name Ghost Legend All Out. It definitely has a lot more caffeine, and it didn't really dive too much into the pump and performance side. It was very clearly a energy focused driving experience. So they've revamped it basically, and the small changes they've made are great. Like you can't deny when a brand improves a supplement, gives you for the same price, same amount of servings, and they make only increases or additions. Basically everything's been kept the same. That is very much the case in the all new Ghost Legend All Out, which I believe is launching maybe this week. I think at the end of this, sometime this week, shortly, either way. We've got the date on the website. But the biggest changes I've made comes by way of the citrulline, beta and betaine. I'm pretty sure it's just, I can't remember which one they had before. But basically they've added more. They've used nitrate sources for those core ingredients. So the previous version, I believe, had one. I'm trying to remember exactly. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Yeah, so you had 6 grams of citrulline with 1.48 grams of that coming from 2 grams of NO3T citrulline nitrate. So just to explain this for those that might not understand, what Ghost, and I have this question a lot, so that's why I'm kind of taking the time. So a citrulline yield, the way Ghost labels it, typically you'll see a brand put 2 grams of NO3T citrulline nitrate on their label, right? And then you might see 6 grams of citrulline straight. Basically means there's 2 grams of citrulline nitrate and 6 grams of citrulline. Now on Ghost's label, they've done something pretty cool, very unique, might I say as well. So they'll write 6 grams of citrulline nitrate, 6 grams of straight citrulline or citrulline yield. And then in the brackets, they've got said explain where that's come from. So on the label, they haven't put NO3T citrulline nitrate, and they haven't put straight citrulline. They've written citrulline yield. And then they explain that amount of citrulline, the 6 grams, comes from straight citrulline as well as citrulline from citrulline nitrate. So understand that you do get nitrates in there as well via the NO3T citrulline nitrate, but they list it as in a way where you basically are seeing it for the purpose of the citrulline. So in Ghost All Out, Legend All Out, you get 6 grams of citrulline, 4.9 grams of that is straight citrulline, regular citrulline. And then the other gram or so is from 1.5 grams of citrulline nitrate. So there's 1.5 of citrulline nitrate in there, plus the 5 grams of citrulline, and they combine for 6 grams per serving. Very, very long-winded explanation. However, in the new version, they've kept that the same, but they've expanded that concept into the beta-alanine and the betaine. So now, not only do you have citrulline coming from citrulline and citrulline nitrate, there is the betaine coming from betaine and betaine nitrate, and beta-alanine coming from beta-alanine and beta-alanine nitrate. So they break down specifically, so the dosages of the beta-alanine and betaine are the same as we had in the previous version. A lot of them, a good amount of them, are now just coming from the nitrate ingredients. So basically, there were nitrates in the previous version, but I think we rattled it off as there are now 3 times as much nitrate in there, thanks to the addition of the beta-alanine nitrate and the betaine nitrate, which their yield keeps the dosages of betaine and beta-alanine, straight beta-alanine, the same. So, long story short, very difficult explanation. It's better primarily because it's got a whole lot more nitrates in there. So the pumps should be a standout. I think we have a bottle, or we're getting a bottle, and it will hit just as hard as it always was. It's just got nitrates for better pumps now. So it's, again, nothing much you can complain about. Great addition to the supplement. When you have something that people like and they just tweak it here and there, it's pretty cool to see. Give back to fans, keep with the consistency, and yeah, you can read more about that on the website. Now we go to the last three stories. We've got Old School Labs. So they teased the supplement not too long ago, and they didn't actually show off the name of the supplement, but with a bit of tweaking, a bit of editing, we could read the name Blast X, which we very rightfully assumed was a sequel to Vintage Blast, or maybe even Blast Max, the brand's premium pre-workout. So that supplement has now got all of its details out there. Blast X is indeed a pre-workout. However, it doesn't quite fall where I thought it might. It's not. It's more premium than Vintage Blast, but it's less, I guess you could say, than Blast Max. They haven't stacked this with premium ingredients as much as they have Blast Max, but they have put quite a substantial variety of ingredients with some good dosages in there, putting it more on the premium side than Vintage Blast. So we'll go over the list. The balance is actually kind of eerily similar to Blast Max. Again, you just don't get a lot of the proven and premium ingredients that were in Blast Max, which I believe NO3 nitrates was a part of that. But still, keep in mind, it is still a very stacked supplement that should hit on all levels: energy, focus, pumps, and performance. We'll go through it right now, just briefly. On the pump and performance side, which is really where this one shines the most, you get 6 citrulline, 4 beta-alanine, 2.5 betaine, a gram each of agmatine and arginine, a gram of taurine, and that whole bunch is for the pump performance. Then you move over to the stimulant side, or the sensory side. Citrafuse is in the mix, theobromine, choline, tyrosine, and a 325 milligram hit of caffeine from a couple of sources in anhydrous and Zumixar. Then there's also an electrolyte blend furthering the performance aspect of it all. So very well-rounded. I think it's a good step up from Vintage Blast. I still feel like the hit that you get in Blast Max, I haven't tried this, I had Blast Max. I think that looks like it might still slap a bit more. The performance pump side seems to be better here. So I would still think Blast Max might be the step up. So it's created quite a nice stepping stone per se, especially on price as well. So Vintage Blast is the cheapest of the old school pre-workouts. Then we go to the all new Blast X. Then you go to Blast Max. Now if Blast Max disappears, I'm gathering this is the replacement. If it stays, I gather it's an intermediate. Either way, it's a very solid pre-workout. Comes in at $49.95, if I remember correctly, $49.99. So yeah, $10 more than Vintage Blast, $10 less than Blast Max. It'll be available through the Old School Labs website very, very, very soon. We're going to close in on 2 stories. We have this one up next because I want to save the other one for last. And we're talking about the C4 protein powder. So this was previewed a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago. C4 Cellucor came out and showed off a lot of its all new collaborations. Included in that was what we got here, a protein powder. Now, it was kind of masked, I think, about what was involved here. So the announcement was about collaborations, and clearly this is protein powder themed around, or authentically created with, Reese's peanut butter cups and Hershey's milk chocolate. So those 2 protein powders were revealed, but I think it kind of overshot the excitement here because C4 hasn't actually had a C4 branded protein powder ever. Cellucor has done protein powders. They've done Isolate. Obviously, they've got their Core series protein powder still. They've never done a protein powder that has the C4 name. Here we have it with this, and it's now available. It launched through GNC exclusively, I believe, through their Pro program, whatever their insider thing was. It's there now. You can buy it from GNC. I don't know if this is exclusive to them now. I had a feeling this is going everywhere, but there might be some sort of initial exclusivity here. So yeah, the C4 protein powders at GNC. The formula is relatively straightforward. It's nothing complex, which, to be honest, when it comes to protein powder, that's, kind of what you want. So you get whey concentrate and isolate come together to give you 25 grams of protein per bottle. Concentrate is the more prominent of the 2 sources. Then it's 2.2 to 4 grams of carbohydrates, 1 to 2 grams of that sugar, 2 grams of fat, and 130 to 140 calories. And that goes across the flavors, the Reese's chocolate peanut butter, and then the Hershey's milk chocolate. And there is one other option, which was not confirmed initially, but has surfaced with this launch here at GNC. That is vanilla, so the only standard flavor or non-collaboration flavor that's there is indeed one of the most classic and tried and true tastes in vanilla. You can read more about it on the website. And we have a link through to GNC where I believe it is available very reasonably priced for a £2, $44.99 for two. And in traditional legacy style, I prefer to buy my protein powder in bulk. I've just been from that era where the £4, £5, £10 were all the rage. And so it's really cool to see them do both a £2 and a £5. So the £5 is significantly more cost effective. It is obviously the same formula. You have all of the same flavors as well, vanilla, Reese's, and Hershey's. It's $82.99. So you pay less than double, $7 less than double, and you get 50% more than double. So it's 2.5 times as much protein powder for less than twice the price. It's obviously significantly more cost effective to go bigger, and that is also at GNC, both those sizes. So if you try all three and absolutely love one, or could at least get through, 60 servings, 70 servings? Haven't got the exact number, let's just say 60 or 70 servings, 66 servings. If you could get through 66 of those straight, 33 on the double, then yeah, go ahead and grab one of the bigger ones. The last story we have, it's not on the screen, but it's a fun one, and I thought it was very interesting to see, especially the speed in which it came out, and that is AI energy drink. So AI energy drink is from none other than Jack Owoc, who, if you were not aware, was the founder, the innovator, the man behind Bang Energy, which went through just ridiculous rise in popularity. Like, I still recall going to shows, seeing them slinging their drinks, throwing them out there. I knew VPX before I knew Bang. VPX, famous in its own self. It had created some pretty solid supplements back in the day. Synthesize, Redline, obviously. They had a lot, Meltdown. They had a lot of hit products. But Bang was obviously the king of them all, rightfully so. It just took out a market share of the energy drink category like no other. And it did it just in its own unique way. And obviously it ended a bit roughly, where Jack Owoc was eventually removed from the CEO position. And then after a lot of legal troubles and whatnot, Monster ended up acquiring Bang. And now Bang seems to be doing quite well under the Monster beverage family. They just announced introduced a new flavor at NACS in Las Vegas with sour ropes. You can find more about that on the website too. And yes, so either way, Jack Owoc is, commended for all the efforts that he did and the rise that he had. And obviously went by the wayside a bit as Bang was moved over, and now he is back, and he's back in the business of energy drinks with AI energy drink. Now, we did some digging as much as possible, went through the website. So this isn't like if you remember, Hell in Europe had an energy drink called AI Flavor, AI Energy. I think maybe it was just AI, whatever it was a flavor, and they used AI to create the design, the tastes. I believe they had, obviously AI can't taste, at least right now, but they had a whole bunch of people actually try the drink, and then AI was used to basically go through the summary. So they used it every turn they could, and it resulted in a flavor called AI. And so AI was heavily used in the process. Now, looking at Jack Owoc and AI Energy's website, I couldn't see any kind of involvement of AI. It didn't look like it was formulated, crafted, designed, whatever, like the Hell one. I believe it's primarily a name, but they do theme themselves around that name. So a lot of the marketing, the graphics, and if you go on their social media, you'll see the video content is done with AI. They've got the man Jack himself doing as a robot in one of the pictures. And in the videos on social media, it's him in that sort of AI fantasy picture. And then it's using moving his mouth for him as they do some words. So very heavy on the marketing AI involvement. And then they do mention something about kind of in an ever-changing world with AI speeding up and human intelligence, this is kind of intended to be like elevate your own intelligence, cognition, and keep up with AI almost. So it's a very, not loose, but they do definitely play into it with their marketing. But it's not, I guess, an AI energy drink in the sense that artificial intelligence was used to actually make it better than the competition or whatever. It's more of a theme, I guess you could say, than a functionality side. But the formula, I will give Jack and the team brought together a bit of a formula. I'm just going to bring it up now. It's relatively functional. And by that I mean just like it's not your typical caffeine taurine type thing. You get L-dopa, acetylcholine, tyrosine, huperzine, B vitamins, and of course caffeine at 200 milligrams of natural caffeine to boost energy, focus, and clarity. And so it's a very nice, robust nootropic blend that should offer more than just your standard energy. But I will note they did do the 200 milligrams of caffeine. So this isn't 300 like with Bang, like Jack kind of built the name around a Bang. It's 200 and yeah, kept with the signature, no sugar, no carbohydrates, 0 calories, and there are 4 flavors right out of the gate. And I believe it was grape, watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach. So you can pre-order them now on the website. We have the website linked on our post about the brand and drink. You can pick it up for, I think it was $40.99. No, $36. And that gets you the 12 cans. Now there is a variety pack, which is what we pre-ordered. We have already been in and pre-ordered. I didn't actually know. I thought you could buy it. I'm not disappointed at all that to pre-order. I believe we shared an update later when we found out that pre-orders appear to be shipping middle of November, early November. So at the very least, you've got about 2 to 4 week wait to get your hands on some. Knowing Jack Owoc and what I do with Bang, I suspect the taste on this is amazing. Formula is pretty solid. It's a little more complex than what you got at Bang. But to be honest, it's just kind of great to see the man, obviously, who innovated Bang, is back in the game with a very interesting drink, to say the least. The AI theme is, again, as someone had said they had an AI themed something, I would have thought it would have been more involvement with artificial intelligence. Maybe it used AI to make the branding, maybe redesign the can. I don't know. So this is more of an AI theme. It's quite an intriguing drink. They've, got pre-orders now. You can buy individual cases of the flavors, flavors of individual cases of individual flavors, or the variety pack, which gets you 3 of each to try all of them. And that's what we've done. Very excited to give it a shot, as you can expect, being energy drink connoisseurs. And with all the stories on this podcast, you can find out more over at stack.com or stack3d.com. As always, all we ask you to do to show support is visit the website, join the rewards program, get in on some giveaways, follow us on socials. Just the love, share, support, that's all we need. That's all we've ever needed to keep this going, provide this resource, and keep you updated with absolutely everything that happens in the world of supplements, functional food, and energy drinks from all around the world. Share with your mom, your dad, brother, and sister. Look forward to having you back next time, and thank you once again for listening.